Hello, my name's Paul. I'm originally from the United Kingdom, but I've lived in Prague for 7 years. In this video I'm going to show you a hike I did yesterday through the Czech countryside. I'd quite like to show that there's more to the Czech Republic than just Prague, although Prague is obviously a fantastic city. Going on a trip to the Czech countryside is really easy and quite cheap and very rewarding. And I started this trip at Prague Central Station, but just before we go any further I want to show you the website and mobile phone application I used to organise this trip. It's called mappy.cz. You can type in your starting point destination and click the little man, and it will devise an ingenious route for you through the countryside. And make sure you've got tourists clicked, because it will take you along these tourist paths, which you can see when you click outdoor. The red and the yellow and the altitude profile will warn you of any aggressive hills that are fast approaching. Anyway, after buying this 10 Czech crown Tatranka with a 1000 Czech crown note and incurring the wrath of the shop assistant, I wandered to the platform. I already had my ticket booked from the Můj Vlak application, which is also in English and means you don't have to go and buy a ticket. You can even reserve a seat for free. As I came up onto the platform, there were these two young lovers embracing each other physically. And as you can see, there's a little ticket where my rucksack, or my wife's rucksack, is now resting. I enjoyed power supply, Wi-Fi, and air conditioning, and an almost empty train because I left at 7:13 in the morning. I'm heading for the city of Beroun, which is about a 40-minute train ride out of Prague, around which is the beautiful KŘIVOKLÁTSKO nature area, one of my favourite areas in the Czech Republic for hiking. Just saying goodbye to Prague as we cross the Vltava river, and you can see Prague Castle in the distance up on the hill. I listened to a playlist that a friend had made me, and it was wonderful. As I saw the villas that start to appear as you head out of the Czech capital, and in Beroun I changed to a small local train which goes through small villages on the way to the village of KŘIVOKLát, where there is a very, very famous castle which you will see shortly. But you can really start to see the natural beauty in this part of the Czech Republic as you make your way there. I was the only person to get off the train here. It took me about an hour and 45 minutes from Prague to get there, and it's about 8 o'clock now, or 8:30. This is the castle, KŘIVOKLát, that I mentioned. But we're not going in there today. We're using it as the starting point and heading out to explore KŘIVOKLÁTSKO. And this is the valley through which some of the hike will take place. These are the tourist marks which remind you that you're on the right path. You should be able to see the next one as soon as you pass the most recent one. You can also watch your progress on the mappy.cz application on your phone. Much like Google Maps, you'll be a little blue dot and it will guide you all the way through this slice of Czech paradise. These signs are in Czech, but you can enjoy the photos if you don't speak Czech, and at every few kilometers there'll be these signs that will give you even more guidance. On the map you'll see lookout points, and of course it's essential that you go to these to enjoy the panoramas and vistas of the Czech countryside. We're going to head down and cross that blue bridge you just saw. But first we're going to absorb this beauty for a little longer, and maybe even have a sip of water. Speaking of water, here's the first waterfall of the trip. More water. Now in the town, or every village in Czech Republic, there'll be a potraviny, which is like a little corner shop, and often a barking dog outside, like that one. I bought an iced tea and drank it as I passed this square with the little public bookshop. And this corner shop and pub all in one, which I thought was very impressive. And this is a typical village in the KŘIVOKLÁTSKO area. Beautiful little cottages and houses with very well manicured gardens, and at this time of year all the roses were in bloom. And these are some of the much smaller cottages that many Czechs have in the countryside, where they go at weekends and through the summer to walk around in their pants and eat salami. This was the second lookout point. It even had a bench for young lovers to hold hands, touch each other's knees, and eventually kiss with mouths. There was me in my Sunday best before heading on. A small mistake I made on this hike was putting too much of the trail through forest and woodland. So there weren't too many meadows, and I do like a good meadow. You'll see now we're on the red tourist path. This was a small meadow with some logs on the side. At one point I saw a woodsman cutting some trees. The flashes of light coming through the trees was the reason I took this shot, in which nothing is really happening. And I just thought that these tourist marks had probably been done by someone who was drunk or under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs. A meadow! I've already made it very clear that I do like meadows. A picnic bench and another information sign telling you about the wild pigs in the area, which can be very dangerous. After walking through lots and lots of woods for about 10 kilometers, I finally found a village, a lake, and some frogs leaping along the path. I didn't stand on any, I don't think. And a village, Nový Jakov, I believe, where I visited the co-op, the sign for which you can see on that lamppost, and I bought a piece of cheese that looks like a horse's tail. It was €1 and it was fantastic. A local pub that I didn't visit, and finally an enormous meadow with a view of the KŘIVOKLÁTSKO hills and fields. I did a hike last year through a different part of KŘIVOKLÁTSKO and saw many more meadows. Finally, I reached my destination after 17 kilometers of walking, the village of Nizhbor. And I came here because I've been recommended a restaurant that supposedly sells the best fried cheese in the country. It's right next to the train station, and it's called Zastávka. But before we see the cheese and experience the restaurant through the medium of video, just take a look at the lovely houses in Nizhbor. The chateau is on top of the hill, overlooking the wide section of the Berounka River. And here we are in the pub with 1 litre of homemade lemonade. And there it is, the best fried cheese in the country. I have to say I'd probably agree. Typically you don't get honey, and here you got honey, which I guess is probably why it's the best fried cheese in the country. The crispy batter was outrageously crispy, although I wish the plate had been warmed beforehand. Here you can see the design of the restaurant. There's train carriages incorporated, which can even be used to host functions and weddings, I believe. You'll see a couple more of the train carriages in the garden, and the first of the 3 trees you can see there is the one under which I sat and enjoyed the best fried cheese in the kingdom. It was only 2 o'clock and my train wasn't for another couple of hours, so I looked on my Mappy application and I navigated myself along the river to the next town from where I could catch the train that I had originally intended to catch in the previous town. Perfect for cyclists or rollerbladers. This was a village that I walked through. You'll see this horse here approach the camera, and thanks to the image stabilization you can't quite see that I took some steps back quite quickly, as I was surprisingly scared of nothing but a nice horse. And this bridge took me over the river into Hiskov, from where I took the train home, accompanied by 2 cans of Pilsner Urquell, the finest Czech beer, after the finest fried cheese in the country. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and check the description for links to this trip and to the applications I've mentioned. And please share this on social networks. Until next time, happy tripping and toot toot.